Classification: Unaliver. Characteristics: Parasite. Number of victims: 1. Date of unaliving: September 16, 1994. Date of birth: June 13, 1970. Victim profile: her daughter, Christina Holt. 7. Method of unaliving: beating. Location: Palm Beach County, Florida, USA. Status: sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole on June 7, 1995. In October of 1994, Pauline Zile, 24, went on national news saying that her daughter was kidnapped. She was sobbing on television, explained how Christina was kidnapped from a Fort Lauderdale flea market restroom on October 22nd. She pleaded for the girl's return, and she kept saying Christina in past tense, not in present tense. And she had holes in her story as she was saying this. Okay. So Paulina hired a lawyer, whatnot. So um, in October of 1994, 24 hours later, Pauline was arrested at her lawyer's office after she went on national television. So I guess when she was like arrested, they read her charges. She pled guilty. I mean, they she was charged with first degree murder, one count of aggravated child abuse because she just stood there as her husband beat her daughter down, right? So uh, when John, the husband, the stepfather, realized this, he confessed to beating Christine, to death. Okay, he beat her down. So on October 27th, John led police to the burial site where he buried Christina at. And Christina said that she created this story to cover up the fact that her husband beat Christina so bad she did not wake up. She couldn't even move. So he unalived Christina in September of 1994. And then so that same day when John led the police to her burial site, I I can't believe they buried her behind a Kmart. A Kmart, okay, a Kmart. John was in jail for first degree unaliving, two counts of aggravated child abuse, and him and his wife Paulina, Pauline, I'm sorry, was held without bond. So, uh, in 1995, they went to trial. No, yeah, I think it was trial in 1995. So, a neighbor that lived in the apartment building, I guess adjacent to them, he testified in court. His name was Dale Ackerman. Dale told the court that he could hear Christina screaming. And John beating her through the walls of his apartment. So they must be some thin walls. Okay. Dale said that John was beating Christina so bad. Then he said the screams became muffled, so he thinks that John dragged her into the living room and continued the beating there. Dale said that Pauline was in the bathroom. He knows it was the bathroom. And he heard Pauline say, John, that's enough. Stop. Whatever people would say. So he said that he could tell that Christina was in the bathtub. Okay, he could tell because Pauline was saying, wake up, wake up. And John was like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, what did I do? Like, now we need to come up with some type of alibi, right? To uh, say that this girl was missing or something. That's when they went to the press conference. They did the press conference late October, okay? And uh, man, that was like some damning testimony. Now, at the trial here, so on June 8th, 1995, she is in court and now they're reading her sentence. After the neighbor testified, everybody's in court or whatnot. Paulina, Pauline shut her eyes and reached for her attorney's hand Wednesday, June 8th, 1995. Or was it June 7th, 1995? I'm not sure about the date. So it seemed long and torturous, preferable to announce her fate. Then it came she would spend the remaining days in prison without the possibility of parole. She gasped and joyful tears rushed from her eyes because this woman was on the chopping block for the death penalty. She should have got it. She said now, Pauline, she said that at least she can sleep good tonight, knowing that she wasn't getting the death penalty. Her face puffy from tears, and she was led back into the courthouse holding cell after Wednesday's sentencing hearing. She was spared from joining the six women on Florida's death row, a group including convicted serial killer Eileen Wuornos and Ann Cardona, mother and killer of baby lollipops. Okay, so she turned 25 on Tuesday, knew that no matter the outcome, she would have to pay for death of her firstborn child, Christina Holt, 7, by giving up her two remaining children. Well, duh. I know she has to. She can't take them to prison with her. So Pauline began to serving her sentence after the hearing the following week. She gives up her parental rights to her sons, Chad 3 and Daniel 5, allowing them to be adopted. One of her attorneys grabbed Ruben and said the two boys will be adopted together by a couple unrelated to them. So Pauline was convicted of first-degree murder because the jury found she stood there. She stood by while her husband John beat Christina until the child collapsed and went into convulsions, suffocating to death. Now, John's trial is scheduled for August 7th. So like that was like 2 months from then. And it took 90 minutes of a closing argument, and the jury decided to convict her on first degree murder and was dismissed for the sentencing phase of the defense's request. So, Pauline played a major role in the death of her daughter. And I believe that she should have got the death penalty. And they said Pauline was unhappy that her daughter got dropped off by the grandmother to her. And 4 months later, the baby was dead. Dead, you guys, dead. And she was an unnecessary expense to Christine. So Pauline was sentenced to 13 years on each 3 counts of aggravated child abuse and served concurrently with her life sentence. So this heifer is never getting out. So thank God back then they changed it and she can't get no parole because ugh, just disgusting. Okay, so uh wow, this is crazy. So they said during her closing argument, Marianne Duggan said Pauline was an arbitration of nature, even an animal. A dog will dig up their puppies from the owner who buried them. That's cold. That's cold. That's crazy. So now the grandmother who dropped Christina off to the mother, to Pauline, she had no comment about the sentence on Wednesday. Holt had the grandmother had brought Christine to Florida from Maryland last summer to reunite her with her mother. 4 months later, the child was dead and buried in a vacant lot near a shopping center in Tequesta. Rain and wind have erased most of the words of love left at an impromptu shrine behind a Tequesta Kmart where Christina was buried. But the tattered shrine in the litter strewn lot is still a stark reminder of the unaliving. So they put a 15-foot tall white cross with purple flowers and a photo of Christina pinned on it. Towers over an array of stuffed animals, religious figurines, and dried flowers. Christina's smiling face became familiar to South Floridans as October with Pauline went on television to tearfully plead for her daughter's return. This is just insane and it's nuts. So, as I said, the neighbor was getting dressed when she heard the shouting and hitting. So that's probably why how she knew. And so um rest in peace to that girl, to that little girl. Rest in peace to her. And this mother should have got death. And Christina already knew that her mommy didn't care. She just sat back and watched Christine die.